Good morning. Unless maybe you're a Cowboy fan. I'm about to bring in Richard Sherman and Keyshawn Johnson to try to make sense of all this and maybe talk me off the ledge. But what a finger-pointing mess the Cowboys have become since that mind-blowing meltdown against Green Bay. We are not family. In fact, the three best players on my team, the three who should be the leaders of my team, now have family members taking social media shots that almost certainly will be held against said quote-unquote leaders. My rule of thumb has always been people close to you have to understand that whatever they say publicly will be seen and heard as coming from something you privately told them. So now we have Dak's brother telling quote-unquote so-called Cowboy fans on social media that if he could get Dak out of Dallas, he would. We have Micah Parsons' brother saying Dak needs to take a team-friendly deal or pack his bags. And also taking a shot at defensive coordinator Dan Quinn saying it was criminal the way Micah has been used. And yet Micah tried to set the record straight by saying only he speaks for himself and isn't afraid to say what he thinks. Okay, but by far the most damaging statements came from CeeDee Lamb's mother on Facebook. She said in all caps, Dak isn't it. She said her son deserves better. She said, and I quote, they need to get rid of his ass. It's guys on that team that want a all caps ring. They work too hard. He don't want to win a all caps ring. So now, no matter how CD might try to rebuild the bridge between him and Dak, which got set on fire early in the Green Bay game, Dak surely will suspect that CeeDee's mother was just repeating what her son has told her. Okay, Mr. Johnson, as in Keyshawn, how damaging will all this be to my football team?
It's not damaging at all, Skip. It really isn't, because everything that the family members are saying is not coming from the players itself. And I understand your motto in this situation is, hey, it must have been a private conversation at dinner, driving home from the games, and all of those sort of things. That probably, I would say, there's some truth to that to some degree, I'm sure. Yeah. Somewhere in the 17, 18 games this season, there's been some conversations with family members about certain things that have gone on inside of the building. There's no question about it.
You got it. Yeah.
But we can't sit up here and act like it's going to affect the relationship of those players, because those players, all CeeDee Lamb is going to say is, man, my mom, man, don't even pay that no attention. She just, that's that conversation, Richard.
Right.
It's my mom, don't pay her no attention, man, don't even, man, my brother, just like Micah Parsons said, my brother speaks for himself. Has nothing to do with me. I feel a certain way. Even though at some point in time, I bet my right arm that Micah Parsons had a conversation with his brother somewhere along the way about the way the Dallas Cowboys are using him, playing him, all of those sort of things, the way Dak Prescott has played. But then there's also those family members are not blind to see exactly what is going on with the Cowboys. It's not all on Dak Prescott. Does he have some responsibility in some of their failures? Absolutely, 100%. And so does CeeDee Lamb, and so does Micah Parsons. So all they're doing is using social media. I've been in the situation myself when there was no social media, okay? In college and in the pros, Skip, my family sat one row behind another family. And I didn't learn about it till the game was over. Afterwards, that there was some words being exchanged. My family didn't know that the quarterback, who they said can't see, he's as blind as Ray Charles, right there with his family sitting there, and he was throwing the ball to Butterfingers, which the family was sitting next to him. And my family had no idea that the receiver in the quarterback's family was right in front of him, and they were throwing the football to him. So my sisters called the quarterback blind and the other receiver Butterfingers. And, you know, you just deal with it, man. That's what you gonna do. And this was before social media. What you gonna do, Richard?
To their face, all that stuff. Skip, this is not a big deal. This has been happening for years. If you, any athlete or athlete's family, if things aren't going well, you're going to hear some things from them that you're not going to agree with. Like, hey, this guy's the reason. Fire the coach. Do this. Hey, man, the owner needs to go. You know, you're going to hear every single thing because they want better for their family member, whoever it is. And it doesn't necessarily reflect the thoughts of that player or that guy, that athlete at all. And as you know, your family does not always speak for you, Skip. Your family can have a totally opposite opinion of how you feel and what you think, and they can give that opinion. That doesn't mean and I just don't even understand why we feel the need to listen to Micah Parsons' brother's opinion. You know, I mean, if we got to sit here and listen to everybody's family's opinion and then get on TV and talk about it, it would be insane. But CeeDee Lamb's mom having a problem with Dak Prescott is kind of troubling to me because Dak Prescott is the guy that threw your son the ball as much as anybody in the National Football League. Your son had his best season of his career. He's a first-team All-Pro, a Pro Bowler, led the league in receptions, had an overall great season. You think Dak Prescott doesn't want to win the ring? You think Dak Prescott doesn't care? You can always do worse. And I think some people lose perspective on that. You could always do worse. But do I think this is going to be an issue in their locker room going forward, Skip? It's not at all. These dudes go to battle, go to war. They are invested. They are connected. They understand each other. If they had a problem, I'm sure they have a way of communicating. Hey, text them. Hey, man, my mom tripping. Don't even trip about that. Because now they have to listen to us talk about it and speculate on it because his mom sent a tweet or his brother posted this or Dak's brother posted something else. Like, it's not a big deal, Skip.
Just my mom, man.
It's just my mom. My mom tripping.
Okay.
My mom tripping.
All right, but both of you acknowledge that it probably came from CeeDee.
No, I did not acknowledge that at all. I did not.
No,
say that.
I certainly Skip.
Did. No,
Skip. I certainly believe at some point throughout the 18, 19 weeks of football season, there has been a conversation in all three households about what has taken place with the Dallas Cowboys. I could attest to that.
But I don't think it's because if you're sitting here thinking, oh, CeeDee Lamb's calling his mom, Dak Prescott is.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
No, I'm saying Skip saying.
What Skip is saying he said the same thing I'm saying. At some point, that conversation, I don't care if it was on the plane ride, when you was on the cell phone, I don't care if you in the car driving home, you know, Richard, that conversation has come up somewhere when he didn't get the football, when they threw the ball to the other guy and he got picked, when Michael Parsons felt like he could have pass rushed and he dropped instead. That conversation has come up, man.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is I don't know if it has because this has been CeeDee Lamb's best season. So most of these conversations that he's having is like, man, I just had the game of my life. I just had 191 and 2 touchdowns.
Not at the beginning of the year when you called him a fringe number one.
Right. And
at the beginning of the year when he was not getting the football, I can go.
For the following 3 months, he got the football more than anybody in football.
But we're not talking
about that's recent.
But here's where I'm going to push back on you, Richard.
Okay.
At the start of the season, they struggled to get him the football, right, Skip? Mm-hmm. Then that conversation may have taken place then. Then he started to obviously take off. Last game, not so good. So those same feelings is what I'm saying that he had communicated potentially with his mother, allegedly, I'm bringing this up, brought those feelings back after the Green Bay loss is all I'm saying. I understand in between, Skip, that he got off and he was balling, but those same feelings crept back in. So it brought back up a sore wound, so to speak. It opened it back up for moms is all I'm guessing. I didn't hear this from CeeDee, nor did I hear from the mother, Skip.
No, I got you. I believe CeeDee's mother just hit a nerve in that locker room because I believe there are lots of players and lots of people upstairs who are starting to wonder if Dak is ever going to be the answer instead of the question. I have said for 4 years on this show, he's not the answer. When she says he ain't it, she is right about that. And I think a lot of people out there who closely watch this football team know he ain't it. So the problem is when I least expected it, that some difference between Dak and CD manifested itself, some underlying disagreement or whatever early in the Green Bay game. And I told you guys that Monday after, if you'd given me 1,000 things that would happen in this game, number 1,000 would be that Dak and CD would get into it early in the game. And I did love what Michael Irvin said on the show. I think, Keyshawn, you weren't there that day because I think it was MLK Day. You came later. But Michael said that he blamed CD more than Dak because he thought CD was out of line walking away from Dak when Dak criticized him for breaking off his route or running it too flat or whatever it was on that 3rd and 8 throw early in the game when they got into it. And then CD went and just sat by himself on the bench to the point that Mike McCarthy had to go over and try to talk him back up a little bit. So the point was they were clashing early in the game. And for a while, it looked like they'd never played together after, to Richard's point, the previous 12 games, they had been the most dynamic duo in all of football. So this is all troubling for me because I don't know if there's underlying issues going on that are now coming to the surface. I don't know if CD believes that Dak just isn't the answer in Dallas. And now it's coming to the forefront where it's clear to me we are stuck with Dak when we shouldn't be stuck with Dak.
You know why?
So,
you know why you guys are the worst fans in football, Skip, and you're one of the worst? Because for all intents and purposes, your quarterback was the second best quarterback in football.
Yeah.
He was a second-team All-Pro. There's only 2 All-Pros on the All-Pro team. There's first team and then there's second team.
You, Richard.
No. There's first team and then there's second team, Skip. And Dak Prescott was second-team All-Pro. He was the quarterback of the second-team All-Pro team. And so his stats, he lead the league in touchdowns. He had a fantastic season. And all you're sitting here saying is, I don't know if we should extend him.
It was beautiful. All right, Richard, here we go. You ready? All right, what have we done? What is the definition of insanity? It's repeating something over and over, expecting a different outcome. So what have I seen for 3 straight years, Richard Sherman? I saw in San Francisco versus San Francisco. Let's start with the first game at Dallas. What did I see? You okay?
Yeah, got a little Dallas.
I saw San Francisco at Dallas. I saw Dak stink it up for 3 quarters, and we fell behind 23-7 at home. He had a QBR of 32 on a scale of 0 to 100. Then the next year, we get another reprieve. We get another shot because we're 12-5, baby. And we go out to San Francisco, and we score 12 points, and my quarterback stinks the whole game. He throws 2 first-half interceptions, and in the second half, he misses 5 throws that I thought he should have made that would have changed the outcome of the game. And then against Green Bay at home, when we had right in our laps 2 straight home games to get to our first NFC Championship game in 28 years. Dak Prescott stinks it up in the first half by throwing 2 interceptions, and we fall behind 27-0 at halftime. Definition of insanity. All right, so Richard, what did your 49ers do with Jimmy G? He got them to a Super Bowl. He got them a 20-10 lead going to the 4th quarter of a Super Bowl. He got them to an NFC Championship game with a 17-7 lead going to the 4th quarter of an NFC Championship game. And Richard, what did they say? Help me out. What did they say about Jimmy G? Not good enough.
They could do better.
No, we can do better. We got to get rid of Jimmy G. And he was really good for them because in regular seasons, he won a whole bunch of football games.
Was he ever a second-team All-Pro?
I don't think so. I don't know. He won a whole bunch of games. I think he's been. I think he's played better than Dak Prescott.
I'll tell you this, Skip.
What?
Skip.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
He got to a Super Bowl. Are you kidding? He wouldn't beat Aaron Rodgers at Green Bay.
Go ahead.
Are you kidding?
Skip. This is when I have to stop you, man.
Stop him.
Because, yes, he took a team to a Super Bowl. He was on the 53-man roster. The last 2 games of that season for Jimmy G, prior to the divisional round in the NFC Championship game, you know what Kyle Shanahan did? He threw the ball a total of 9 times. Okay? He took the ball away from Jimmy G and said, you're not going to lose this and get me fired. Still, that's what he did. Did he not, Richard?
No, he did.
So, Skip, stop, man. Go ahead, Skip. Stop.
Wait.
Okay.
They're up 20-10. Richard was there. You're up 20-10.
I was there, and we gave up a 20-10 lead as the number one defense in the land, Skip. And Patrick Mahomes came back and won.
You were up 17-7 on the Los Angeles Rams, soon to be champions, in an NFC Championship game at L.A., right? Up
and there was a dropped interception that could have sent him home.
Yeah. Okay, I got you. What did they do? What did Kyle Shanahan and Mike Shanahan do? They said, you know what? We're going to blow this thing up. We're going to spend 3 first-round choices. Mm-hmm. We're going to spend a 3rd-round choice. And we're going to go all the way up to the 2nd pick in the draft because there's this kid up at North Dakota State that we think can change our lives. Didn't they do that?
Yep, and then traded him away for a bag of stale Lay's.
Why they got to be
stale? But the point was they plunged.
Because it would have been a first-rounder if they was the good kind.
Yeah. Okay, did they not hit the lottery with the last pick in the draft? Am I right?
Yeah, 100%. So, Skip, but I'm trying to understand what you're... So, since Dak Prescott has been in the league, Skip, he's been in since 2016, 5 teams have won Super Bowls, Skip, 5. 5 teams have won Super Bowls, which means 27 teams have not, including the Dallas Cowboys. How many quarterbacks have won Super Bowls that are still in the league, Skip? Tom won 2 of them. Patrick won 2 of them. Who else has won any? So you're telling me 2 quarterbacks, 3, because I think Foles.
That was a while ago.
No, Foles, I think, won.
Foles.
Yeah, Stafford. No, it was them 2 and Stafford.
Yeah.
So you're telling me those 3 quarterbacks, since he's been in the National Football League, are the 3 quarterbacks that have won Super Bowls. So everybody else, Skip, are in the exact same boat as Dak Prescott. Josh Allen is in that same boat, has not won anything. Joe Burrow, for all his success, has not won anything, Skip. So we keep talking. Lamar Jackson, for all his greatness, has not won it yet. Okay. We can say yet. But we're sitting here talking about Dak Prescott like he's chopped liver because he has not won a Super Bowl, Skip, and neither has any of those other guys that we talk about in the highest of regards, and deservedly so. They deserve to be held in that high regard. But has Josh Allen went and won him a Super Bowl, Skip? Has he went and took his team to a Super Bowl? He has not. Joe Burrow is the only one who has, and he lost it to Stafford.
Okay.
And so, Skip, you're sitting here telling me all these expectations like these other guys getting paid are going out there outside of Patrick Mahomes, and he's the only one who deserves to be in that category by himself because he's won the MVPs and Super Bowl MVPs, and he's done the job. He's finished the job. So he deserves to be in a category of his own. But outside of him, Skip, nobody else has taken their team to the promised land and came back with the trophy other than Stafford and Tom.
Okay. Has anybody else with a 12-5 record for 3 straight years crapped out in the playoffs the way we have? Anybody else?
The Bills do it every year.
No, they don't. Not
yes,
like
they do.
this.
When have they won it, Skip?
Well, it sounds like they do it every year to me.
They do it every year.
Did they get to an AFC Championship game?
They did
in 20, I think. 20 or 21.
Yeah, they did.
They did.
They did.
And they went home, Skip.
And they lost.
Way ahead of us.
They went home.
But I don't care. These are the Dallas Cowboys, America's team. Haven't been to an NFC Championship game in 28 years.
And so you're telling me it's the quarterback who's the second-team All-Pro this year's fault, not anybody else's. It's the quarterback who actually played his behind off all season long. It's his fault that they didn't make it. Nobody else's, Skip. That's not it.
Well, I'm just saying, what's the most important position on the team? I'd say it's quarterback, right?
Yeah, that many people would say that as quarterback. I don't necessarily. I don't necessarily agree with everybody's opinion of that, depending on the team.
Yep.
So but go ahead, Skip.
Okay, so my point is, you see what keeps happening and happening and happening, and my problem is that there's not strong leadership from my quarterback or from anybody else in the locker room. So we have a supremely talented team of losers, and it starts with the quarterback. It just does. And what did Rob Gronkowski say on Fox after we crapped out at Buffalo and got literally run off the field with 266 yards rushing? What did he say? That's not a mentally tough football team, right?
He certainly had an outside opinion about what's going on in their locker room. I hate to sit up here with you, Skip, when you start bashing the quarterback, because it's just revisiting the same thing over and over and over when it comes to Dak Prescott. You can't get better, man. You just can't. You would never, nor would the Shanahans ever, pass on Dak Prescott for Jimmy Garoppolo. Okay? You just, I get it. You want to win a championship. You want to be in the NFC championship game. You can't replace number 4. I don't give a damn what Micah Parsons' brother says and nobody else. You cannot replace him. You are stuck with him if you plan on ever getting to a Super Bowl.
Well, you guys hate the Cowboys, so you're happy that we're stuck with them.
No, it's not that, Skip. I'm just trying to get you to open up your eyes, man, and see reality.
I know exactly what's going on. They're wide open, unfortunately.
No, you don't.
They're not. They're not.
You got eyes wide shut.
You want Josh Allen?
You can have Josh Allen.
You want Josh Allen?
He do the same thing for you. He do the same thing.
Do you want Josh Allen, Skip?
No, but I did want Tom Brady 3 years ago.
And Skip, again, Tom Brady is going to need the rest of the team to show up the way they need to show up. So the reason they won in Tampa is because that defense showed up.
And the rest of the team showed
in a big way in big games. You know, in the Super Bowl, Skip, that defense, Shaq Barrett and them boys got after it. JPP, those boys were getting after Patrick Mahomes, which allowed Tom Brady to have a great game. Now, we hear Micah Parsons' brothers, spew, man, he got to be better. They got to get rid of him. But then your brother disappears when they need him the most. If he had 2-3 sacks in that game, then you can say whatever you want because you have showed up in the big game and made big plays. But when you don't, you probably need to just settle down. Settle down, Big Cat, because you didn't show up. You were a no-show in that game as well. And so I want Skip. I almost want it to happen for you. I want y'all to get rid of him because then I could sit here and be like, remember, you sure would have wanted to have Dak Prescott because when they drafted the kid Trey Lance, Skip, who does he remind you of, Skip? A little bit of Dak Prescott, Skip. A little bit of Dak Prescott because
I don't see any Dak Prescott.
Yeah, because he's not playing. Because he's not playing, Skip. But if you told me he reminds you of a kid that led the league in touchdown passes, the second-team All-Pro this season, then when Josh Allen was drafted, they're like, kind of a Dak Prescott mold. Skip, Dak Prescott has been the mold of how they're drafting these quarterbacks for a very long time. He just does not get the credit like that. Trey Lance is like a prototype of Dak Prescott and what he did and how he's had success in this league because you want somebody like that. But then the guy who has it doesn't even want him. Even when he's the second-team All-Pro in the National Football League, he's 32 quarterbacks. They're saying he's the second best. Goodness gracious.
Skip doesn't know what he wants. 1 minute he wants Dak, the next minute he don't. No, you don't.
I don't want Dak. I've said, Keyshawn, you don't know what's happened over the last 5 years. I've been consistent with my opinion.
How is it that I don't know? I'm watching the same games you watch.
Not that guy.
Okay,
I've said it 1,000 times.
Okay, so let's say you are correct. He's not that guy. So who's the guy? You want Kirk Cousins?
Who's the guy?
Available? I'm trying to get you a quarterback.
Don't identify. You do what the Shanahans did. They just went and identified. They said, we want him.
And they got it wrong.
Richard is saying
they made it wrong, Skip.
Okay, so they screwed up. So I need Richard on record. The Shanahans blew it, right?
They 100% blew it. The Shanahans are on record saying they blew it and they traded the kid away. They will say it. I got no problem saying it.
Yeah, they blew it, Skip.
They blew it.
I was about to say this to you, Skip. Stop talking about how great the Shanahans are and they got rid of the quarterback
at the end of the draft. How lucky were they to draft Brock Purdy with the last pick in the draft?
They got really lucky. They got really lucky, and they also still drafted
lottery lucky.
But they still drafted him. How lucky did the Dallas Cowboys get getting a fourth rounder who was a franchise quarterback? They got pretty lucky.
They're gonna have to get $300 million to them. That's pretty good.
Oh, well. All right. We got to get to the NBA next because there was some big news last night. Joel Embiid goes for 70, and I thought it easily could have been 82. You know what I'm talking about. We'll talk about that next.
No mercy. No mercy. No mercy.
Thanks for watching, Undisputed fans. Do you want more highlights from the show? Make sure to click that subscribe button for all the exclusive content from Undisputed.